Cheaters deserve loneliness. I started a new job 3 years ago, and after about 6 months we got a new manager, M. M was a nice enough dude at first and was newly married to a woman who seemed nice enough from what I was able to see whenever she stopped by for a visit. M and I got along pretty well. Both Redditors, same sense of humor, and similar music/TV tastes. After a while though, M started giving me unwanted advances. He would compliment my appearance a little too extensively. I would catch him looking at my body as we talked. It culminated to M pulling me to his office one day and telling me how in love he was with me. Calling his wife names, he didn't know he would meet me before marrying her, etc. I immediately refused, but I tried to be tactful about it because I still wanted my job. He got upset and tried to pull me in for a kiss, but I pushed back. I didn't care about tact anymore. An idea hit me though. I told him to divorce his wife. He of course said he couldn't, blah blah blah. But I kept insisting and I promised him that I would be his if he divorced her, but not before then. M went quiet and said he would see what he could do. I spent the next year recording/logging all unwanted advances towards me he made. I was careful to not deliberately egg him on, and I would politely tell him every time he did it that I did not want these advances. Each time he would say he understands but he can't help himself. I was very close to quitting because I didn't think that my revenge was going to play out, but then M comes to work and announces that he's starting to divorce his of a wife. It was as if the heavens had split open and the hand of God himself extended towards me. I made a point of avoiding M the entire day. At the end of the day, I went directly to the general manager and shared all of my logs. I also sent them to his soon-to-be ex on Facebook. I blocked him on everything and triple-checked that I was set on the max privacy settings. He was fired after a couple days. Attempting adultery didn't look great in court either, so he lost quite a few luxuries he and his ex-wife had shared. Absolutely no reason to ever cheat on someone. Screw him. It's been a little bit since everything is done and I have heard he is alone and has been teetering on alcoholism lately. TLDR. Manager makes unwanted advances on me for a year, and after encouraging him to divorce his wife, I get him fired and screw him over in divorce court. Edit. To address some criticisms of my actions, I'm making this edit because it hinges on a complete misunderstanding of what actually happened. The first encounter was when I told M to get a divorce and insisted on it. I only said it after he attempted to assault me. What I didn't do was tease him throughout the year of harassment. I didn't say the specifics of what he did because I didn't want to. I still don't want to. In fact, I should not have to. I made it clear M tried to assault me on our very first discussion about this, so I don't know what warranted the assumption that he only gave me harmless flirting. Here are some of the things he attempted to do that I repeatedly told him to not do until we were in a relationship. Attempt to kiss me more, touch my thighs, squeeze my butt, ask me for nudes at least twice a month, send me borderline cybersex text messages, and show me his D and say, "Come on baby?" Every single time he did this type of stuff I told him not to do that again. If he touched me, I would remove his hands from me. If he insisted we kissed/sleep with him, I would tell him only after he divorced and never before. He would do it again, because he did not care about me. To repeat from my original post, he said he can't help himself. He can't help but give unwanted attention to women. Just because I promised him a relationship after he divorced does not mean my consent to sexual acts no longer matters. As to why I waited a year, that wasn't a predetermined date. It was actually closer to about 10 months. I was just waiting until he announced he was divorcing. The reason for waiting until he divorced was because I wanted to hurt him for hurting me. I wanted him to think he had that power over the women in his life before I took it away. It was selfish, sure. But I don't think that's a bad thing. And finally, the divorce proceedings. It was honestly just something I had heard from some friends of theirs. They said they had a prenup. I don't know if that was the true case 100%, but I trust the people who told me that. In addition, he is now living in a really crappy part of the city and frequents a bar that some friends of friends hang around. Cheating ex got her karma. I feel kinda sad though. Hello everyone. Let me just say beforehand that I owe this community big time. You guys were the only ones there for me back in January 2020 during my breakup when I even contemplated suicide. That was the worst month of my life after my cheating ex left me for someone else. I love this community. Anyway, I left this sub when I started moving on and healing back in May, if I recall. Now I'm back for some advice and perspective. For context, my cheating ex still owes me $4,000, a big deal in my country, so I asked her just this September for a follow-up on paying that debt since we had a signed contract that she should pay before 2020 ends. She asked if we could talk via Hangout, so I agreed. We talked last night. Turns out she wanted to ask for a payment date extension until next year. More than that, she gave me an update on her life situation. She lost her two high-paying freelance jobs and is now working a barely above minimum wage 9-to-5 office job amidst a raging outbreak in my country. She also lost her condominium unit. It got repossessed since she couldn't pay the mortgage and is now forced to live with her aunt. She lost everything she down paid on that apartment, thousands of dollars worth. On top of that, the guy she left me for was a broke musician. I think they broke up last month after some friends stalked her page and gave me that unverified speculation. Instead of feeling elated and fortunate, I ended up pitying her. It was the first time I heard her say please after she cheated on me and left. I ended up asking her whether she was depressed, to which she answered that she was, and that she was nearly at that certain point in depression. No goals, no more dreams, just living month to month hopping dead-end call center jobs. I was shocked. This wasn't the smart, proud girl I once loved, not anymore. I didn't want to pry deeper. My whole reaction was that of a parent scolding their irresponsible child. Asked her what the hell happened to her and why she let it happen. I even felt a bit insulted at her job choice since I pretty much indoctrinated her into high-paying freelance jobs and never settling for less than she deserves in a job market back in our heyday. I've never heard such a defeated tone from her. I even tried cheering her up. She pretty much lost everything. All that's left are her jobless relatives trying to leech off her measly income. Breadwinner culture in this country is insane. Now here I am, losing sleep at what I thought would give me a peace of mind. Several months ago I would have laughed at her for having that kind of karma. Now I'm just deeply concerned. I even considered giving her some of my work to help her. I was also dead set on giving her that extension until I suddenly remembered her capacity for lying and all the pain she inflicted on me. So I hesitated and just told her that I needed to think about that extension. Trauma and trust issues are still there, I guess. I am considering the extension, and it would seem like I have no choice since she won't be able to pay on time anyway. I definitely don't want to take it to court. That's like kicking an injured person. I don't want to drive her to be suicidal because I know how that felt like when she did it to me, and I fear that she might not be able to handle it. Did I do the right thing in telling her I'll think about it? Or was I too harsh and callous? This was not what I expected at all when I hoped she would get karmic justice served to her. I guess I still care for her despite everything she did, or at least I cared for what she once was. What do I do now? Thanks for hearing me out. Absolute karma hit on a cheating girlfriend and I feel great. We are both in our early 30s, she's a year younger than I am. I thought we had a perfect relationship. We've been together for 6 years now. No history of cheating, that I know of. She left on Monday evening and said she was going for her usual run. She never came back. A day later she calls me. She's getting married to her ex-boyfriend after he reached out to her. She said she never loved me. She's not coming back. I haven't heard from her since. All her stuff is still in our apartment. This is my personal nightmare right now and I don't know what to do. I'm just sitting here, thinking, who is this person? What the heck just happened? Everything just feels numb. How do I move on from this? Now for the good old karma. First of all, thank you to every one of you who sent me some warm words during my first post. You're total strangers over the internet, but you helped me tremendously. This was the darkest hour of my entire life, seriously, and your words helped me endure through that phase. I feel much better now. I still think about her every day, but I've realized it's over for good. I went through a ton of emotions and wrote her several letters that I never sent and ultimately throw away. Anyway, here's my update. With the help of a friend, We moved all her stuff out of the apartment and moved it to a storage unit. I called her dad and told him to get it from there. Yes, I paid for it. People told me I shouldn't bother, but I am like that. It's all gone from my home now. I didn't keep a thing. Clean cut. I was a zombie at work for some time, but thankfully my colleagues were understanding, and as I avoided calling in sick, no one really bothered too much, I hope. Hiking and running helped me with my mental health during these hard times. I even hiked barefoot one day and my foot was full of hurting blisters, but it felt good feeling alive again. Life went on, and I survived. Yesterday I got a phone call from her mother. She didn't even ask me how I am, lol. Went straight to the point of drama. My ex has attempted suicide because she suffered a mental breakdown, and her mother wants me to visit her in the hospital. I had wild emotions at that moment but managed to say do not contact me again. Then I hung up. She didn't call again. I didn't really sleep tonight, as I'm going through a lot of emotions and it's hard to mentally process what happened. I wanted to ask so many questions about her, about how she is and about what happened. I didn't know, and I'm proud of myself. I feel kinda great. I will not look back. Dr. She, 32 female, left me, 33 male, and is marrying another man. Then her mother called me, because my ex-girlfriend had some kind of mental breakdown and was hospitalized for a suicide attempt. I told them to never contact me again and hung up. My karma. My LTR was caught in a virtual affair. I cheated in my former LTR with my current LTR. When I cheated I kept everything from the betrayed, but when I discovered the infidelity, my current LTR cut all ties with the AP, was completely transparent, and is working to rebuild. As a former cheater, I cannot fathom the idea of cheating on my current LTR. I know that a clean cut is not easy, but I was involved with a deep emotional affair. My partner's affair was hardly an affair. We both want to rebuild. Am I being too forgiving? Is this truly a one-time thing? Full story. My partner and I met about 7 years ago. At the time I was on the cusp of a failing long-term relationship. I ended up engaging in an emotional/virtual affair with my current partner while I maintained the failing relationship. My ex found out about the affair and for a while I cut off my current partner in an attempt to fix the relationship with my ex. Months pass, but eventually I left my ex for my current partner. Fast forward 5 years, my partner and I have our own apartment and we are happy. My partner is a flirtatious and charismatic person, and I am not a jealous person. The occasional flirt or compliment to others never bothered me. However, approximately a year ago I saw an odd conversation with a coworker that made me uncomfortable. When I approached my partner about it, they agreed to stop speaking with their coworker. They stopped communicating for a few months and eventually switched jobs, unrelated to the coworker. I never thought about the coworker again until about a month ago. My partner began acting out about a month ago, not coming to bed, not kissing me, etc. We were under stress and I figured it was an issue in the relationship. For some reason I decided to go through his phone. It is not locked and we both know each other's passwords. To my dismay, I found an exchange of photos between him and his former coworker from a month prior. I immediately confronted my partner and they were completely honest with me. I discovered my partner had a secret they did not want to share with me from the fear of judgment, so they sought comfort and acceptance in their coworker. It's been a month since D-Day and things are better. All contact with the coworker has been cut and my partner has been more than willing to answer my questions. I still have fears though. As a former cheater, I know that I found comfort in someone else because I wasn't strong enough to face the issues in my relationship. Although I read all my partner's messages with his coworker and I know it wasn't an emotional affair, I fear it was something I did. We both want to rebuild. I am a state away from any family. We do not have kids or shared assets, but marriage was discussed in the near future. I don't believe in the once a cheater always a cheater. As a former cheater, I know this isn't always true. Am I setting myself up for more pain later by being too forgiving? Has anyone been in a similar situation? How did you work through it? Is this my karma? Karma is a B, eventually. So, I just thought I'd tell you all a story for anyone who thinks cheating doesn't catch up on everyone eventually. It starts about 10 years ago when my partner was caught cheating with someone he worked with. Let's call her Haley. She had no idea he was in a relationship and was appalled at his behavior. We spoke and she apologized, although it wasn't her fault. She left her job so she wouldn't have to be near him and eventually left the country. It was relatively early in our relationship, although we were living together, and I decided to give him another chance. We went on to have a few kids together but eventually split for other reasons a few years ago. Since we have kids, we're still in contact and are as close to friends as two people with a complicated past can be. He starts seeing someone new and confides in me she's having problems trusting him because he has a reputation for sleeping around, but he really likes this woman and wants to find a way to make it work. He says the new girlfriend is willing to give him a chance but is inviting her best friend over to stay. She lives in another country, and would like them to meet. I explained to him how this is like a job interview with the friend and just be nice and hope for the best. So, fast forward a few weeks and he invites me to breakfast. It's the day after the friend meets, so I ask how it went. He said one sentence and I've not stopped laughing since. Her best friend is Haley. It may have taken 10 years, but karma bit him in the butt hard. I had my share of karma. I was someone who had cheated on my ex on multiple occasions, emotional affairs, decided that enough was enough and wasn't fair on her, not that it was to begin with, not justifying my actions, but realized we weren't happy. Started seeing more in my current partner things I wanted out of life, so I chose her over fixing my train wreck of a relationship since I wanted to be happy and I wanted my ex to be happy too. So I set my goal to do right by my current partner and I have done so. Not cheated, not thought about it, been the best I could be, been completely open and honest with her. Not to say it was perfect, it had its downs. But then I found out she cheated on me and it hurt like hell. She lied to me about it and tried to cover it up by lies. I'm still with her as she's remorseful for her actions, but this is her last chance. The added karma because of all that, I'm failing uni for something that was totally achievable had everything not happened. As for my ex, she's got a good paying job, her own house, a boyfriend who does her right and her own stepchild, which I find funny as one of the reasons I left was because she didn't want kids anymore. But I'm still happy she's finally happy and got the life she wanted. I don't hate my ex, I'm not jealous of her, she deserves that happiness. It doesn't hurt that I wasn't the one to give her that because we realized we were young when we got together and had ideals that didn't really grow with age. She's happy and that makes me happy. I don't speak to her anymore, once in a blue moon thing, but I'd still give her the time of day. I just don't want to interfere in her life.